In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, Beverly Hills 90210 fans, stop what you're doing right now because it's time to dive deep into 90 News. All the latest news and rumors coming out of your favorite zip code with your hosts, Pete Ferrero and Melanie Rose. Oh my God, I can't believe what I just heard.
Okay, back on 90 News for another exciting week. We have so much to get to. Melanie Rose, how is everything going in San Diego?
Things are great. It's a little rainy today. Nice little cozy Friday indoors. And it's kind of nice, still resting from that big epic show we had this week, right?
Absolutely. It was a ton of fun. Let's bring on our two co-hosts.
Let's do
buddies, Larry Mullen and Charles Rosen. Hello, guys. How are you?
Excellent.
Good to see you, Chuck. All good in the hood?
Good in the hood. Little full pack schedule, but couldn't have a day on a Friday go by if a new show was going by. So here I am.
That's right.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Big wig week this last week. We did 3.5 hours and 45 minutes. We went longer than the Stones do their shows these days.
Was that our longest super show yet, Pete? Was that longer than our actual super show or about the same time?
Nearly 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, it's pretty impressive. We thought for today we'd make it kind of a lighter news day and just recap with some of our fans who joined us. So why don't we bring them on?
Okay.
Hello, Crystal.
Hey
there.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you all. Yeah.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
We all picked out one person. We said, why don't you get this person? Why don't you get this person when Pete and Melanie asked? And the one that I recommended is sitting here with us, so I'm real happy about it.
And the one I recommended is sitting with us.
Yeah. Same here. We missed a couple, but that's okay.
I recommended it. I'm just happy to have
everyone. Well, you're all terrific. Thank you so much.
Yes.
No, it was great to have everybody, Larry. Like you said, it was so many different people. I wanted to ask Charles before we get to the girls. There was such a diverse group of people that we ran into on Wednesday. That must mean something that it crossed so many different people. This television show that you were a part of all those years ago.
Certainly it has after, as time goes by, I think that, in the beginning, it was really, here in the LA and New York, and that's what it was. But yeah, more and more, and Miami too was a big stronghold right in the beginning. But absolutely. And, the one thing looking about, the fans on there, the only thing that would get me is, how old were you when you started watching this? I know I had a 5-year-old at home when we started, so I do know the that whole, should an 8-year-old, 9-year-old be watching it? And then we would be hearing, I started watching it with my mother when I was 6. So that was a eye opener. That it was all great.
Yeah, I want to also say shout out to our friend Todd, who put together the video, and Brian, who put the song together, and also love to Tori Spelling, who dropped in last minute. That was very kind. Larry, putting that did you love the whole intro bit and the stuff?
Man, the intro, yeah, with all, we had this idea to have all our, we knew our characters had mentioned all these cities over the U.S., so we just figured we'd pull all the clips and, build our intro around that. And then we had the nice theme song that Brian did for him to lay the visuals to. And it's really a kick-ass intro, I think. It really, really is good. Something how you mentioned the Tori thing, and Tori was talking about how when she goes to Italy, she was just, people call her Donna. So, and I kind of chimed in saying what a big, supportive group we have in Italy. And Italy heard that, of course. And now they've come right back, and they were so thrilled to be recognized as a group. And we just, we've created such an international community that people have become friends. And my other from the other Planet 90210 people from London, like Joanna, she told me she now has become friends with all the other people who were in Planet 90210. All of a sudden, she has these friends in other countries that she's going to visit.
That's great to hear.
And I saw pictures yesterday of our Maggie, who's in New York, and Crystal, who's in California. They got together in New York. And so we brought a lot of people together, which is really satisfying for us and exciting.
And when we're doing the Story Slam in a couple of weeks, the 3 winners, one of them is from Dublin, Ireland. So yeah, who would have known? You know,
that's Connor, who has a single coming out, his album coming out today. So yeah, I mean, Connor is a really.
This is going to be
musician.
Connor's year because
Connor Furlong.
what's going to happen
so
with
good.
Story Slam is we're working on is going to be really awesome. So,
but going across the country and seeing all the different stories, which were different, but also at the heart the same, and the show just became their friends. I mean, some of these stuff, it was just great to hear and just hear the different voices and also the ages. I think the youngest we had was David Evans, maybe 27, and we had people up to probably in their 50s and 60s. And I love the story of the woman who watched with her grandmother. And grandmother was a big Dylan fan. And it's just nostalgia. It is nostalgia, but we've made it come alive again, I guess, in a lot of ways. Even though it was a long time ago, it's fresh for a lot of people, and the fact that we're going over it now, they're seeing it with fresh eyes.
I thought I would. You asked about the permeation, and it does lead into a story. I think Ann and Crystal want to hear about this. So I get a call today from really an old good friend of mine. His name is Richie Crystal, and he happens to be Billy Crystal's older brother. So that's good. Cool. And he's been my friend for years and years and years. Used to play basketball with him, go to Laker games with him. Our kids went to the same school. And Rip calls me up, and I think he's calling me up because we did a little announcement yesterday about my new grandson. So I think that's why Rip is calling me up. And the fact of it, that's not why he's calling me up. He's calling me up to tell me that when he left, he got into baseball this year, and he was really a big basketball guy, but he got into baseball, and he's driving home from his weekly golf game in the Valley, and he's listening to ESPN radio. And they're talking about the game, and then all of a sudden, one of them says, this is the 31st anniversary of Beverly Hills 90210.
Wow!
And the 5 minutes, the 2 announcers talked about what the show meant to them, and it took it to the commercial. He said, I was interested because of our relationship, but. Had it not been, can you imagine being a real baseball fan and having to listen to about Dylan and Brandon before they're getting the news?
Oh, that's amazing.
I thought you guys. He just called me like an hour ago to tell me, so I wanted to share that.
I also saw, like that. I just saw a commercial on TV for Pluto TV, and the first thing they show is Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes, that's great.
We should make sure we keep up our thing.
We love.
Now that's probably
important to them.
Now, that could be because we may be the only show still playing on Pluto TV. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, they have everything there.
They've got the ropers.
It's like that thing. Bill Maher has a section. I can't tell you if it's true, but I know it is.
Right. Let's talk to Ann and Crystal. Ann, it was good seeing you the other day.
You too.
Tell me about coming on the show and sharing your experience.
It was amazing. Before I went to Brian Austin Green's event, was that 2 years ago now? I thought I was the only 90210 fanatic. I mean, my friends all were, because I told the story about how we watched it in college, every Wednesday. But when I took it further, after school, and I continued to watch it. And when you had the ability to watch it on your phone, it took it to another level because I can, watch it on a plane. I can watch it in the car. I can watch it anytime. So anyway, it was great to go to that event and then come on yesterday and see that I'm not even at the cusp of some of the fans like Darren, with all the memorabilia and everything. But when I posted that online, I got a lot of calls and texts, and everyone's like, Ann, I'm not surprised you got on that. Things like that only happen to you. Like, how many people, and I've said this to you, Larry and Chuck, many times, how many people get the chance to meet and talk about and have a relationship with people that made their favorite show? How many people? That's why I said yesterday when I saw Charles Rosen's name, like, I'm sorry, but you're my friend, even though you said you didn't remember me. But on the bus, I was Ann from Atlanta. That's why, because I was Ann from Atlanta on the bus. But
yeah, but that's not how you introduced yourself.
No,
exactly.
She 90210 fan. You didn't say I'm Ann on the bus. Then I would have known
Yes.
my alcohol haze. By the way, after this news thing is done, I am checking myself into rehab.
After
Really
all
got
the
loaded.
beers
Oh
the
my
other
God.
day.
Well, I'm glad this is
It was
on
the whiskey that
recorded,
got him
so I
up.
can tell my friends when I name drop, Chuck really does know me.
That's right.
So, and Larry, I texted with Larry or Facebook message, and he was like, "Oh, now I remember you."
Yeah,
and I just cut like 10 inches off my hair, so maybe that's why. But it was so much fun to just hear everybody's different stories and experiences, and especially Malik, who grew up in a whole different type of world,
Yes.
and it made, I don't know how. It probably gave hope to people too to strive for different things that they didn't have in their community. My parents were first generation here. My dad moved to this country with $150 in his pocket, and I never thought about that kind of wealth and that kind of fun. And I don't know. I just think you brought a lot to different people that didn't, in different areas of the country that didn't see that kind of flashy, fun lifestyle that these kids had. But then at the same time, they were still human. They might have had the BMWs, but they still had the same problems that we had growing up. And they were my same age. So it was really nice to see their world and, go through some of the same things. Like I mentioned, my boyfriend getting stolen.
We used to say
Yes.
one thing I
That must have been
kept in my mind-
dramatic, Ann.
It was. I'll have to tell you about it, Pete, off camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say
Ooh.
one of the things we tried to do is, at least in my mind, they were ordinary kids living extraordinary lives. That was kind of part of the thing. So everyone all around the world could relate to them. And also, like you talked about, giving them hope, and people talk about what that BMW meant to them as something they would want to shoot for, or some of the things that they were going for, and what Beverly Hills meant. It's really interesting, and we've experienced that with the Planet 90210 show, obviously all across the world too, especially people who were living in the Soviet countries before then, or actually
I think
right
I've
after that.
said on this show that nothing brought Mr. Spelling more pleasure in the first season, besides the fact that I gave Tori some lines to say, was that Russia that was playing in Russia.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Communist Party had just fell, and we were open, and we were there, and that gave him, great. And we get letters from fans from Russia saying exactly what you're saying, Larry. So it meant a lot, the international scope of this series.
Crystal, how about you joining the podcast the other day? A lot of fun. What were some of your takeaways?
It was like, kind of to touch on a little bit what Ann was saying. It was really nice to hear everybody else's story, because for me, I was always the only person that I knew that was a fan. Well, my mom, and then that was really it. So I never really had anybody to talk about the show with. So finding this podcast last year when you guys started doing it, and then like finding the groups and all of the people that love the show as much as I do was really great, because now I have somebody to talk about it with. And so being on yesterday was just great. I'm still talking about it with my family. I'm like, hey, go look at the link. Go look at me on there talking about my favorite show. So it was amazing. And then I'm still reeling from the fact that Zach shouted me out. So that was really, I really
I'll send that
Thank
to
you
you.
guys
Yeah.
so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
Pete, make sure you send it to her.
I have a question and then a comment. Question is, you said, and then you found the podcast. Do you remember how you found the podcast?
I think because I follow, I think about 3 or 4 Facebook groups for Beverly Hills 90210, and I believe that was when Lily was still working with you guys, and
Yes,
she had
Lily.
posted something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back. I think it was like you guys were like on episode 25, I want to say. So I went back and I watched like all the episodes within like 2 days and caught up. And then now I've been watching every Wednesday, and then the 90 News every Friday, and like, just catch up on everything. So.
Well, thank you for that.
Well,
Very cool.
Well, great. My daughter writes for television and is doing very well for herself. And I see, Crystal, that you have an In Sync shirt up. Do you also like the Backstreet Boys?
I do. I'm more of an NSYNC fan for sure.
Oh,
but
wow.
like if I had to pick one, it would
prefer
definitely be
NSYNC to the
NSYNC, but I
Backstreet
do
Boys?
like Backstreet Boys as well.
What about you, Anne? You like In Sync more?
Okay, I have a little bit of an obsession with Justin Timberlake. So
Me
I see
too.
We all do.
I think we're all
He's very
3 kids in a
talented.
pod. Every single tour I have seen no less than 3 times. So
Wow.
in Atlanta,
Wow.
they do it. He comes to Atlanta, then he comes to Duluth. So I go see both of those shows, and then I go to one other city I travel. So I see
Nice.
each tour 3 times.
Wow.
And then this is the best thing ever. So I'm technically 1 degree of separation from him now. I've gotten closer as the years go on. And so I did a closing for, get this. Okay. So I go to the show and I'm leaving, and I love to dance. I perform a little bit in this like actors, lawyers, acting troupe. We'll talk about that later, another day.
Nice.
But anyway, so I see one of his dancers, and so as I'm leaving, I said, "Hey, can I get a photo with you?" I said, "I just really respect what you do because I know choreographed dancing is really difficult. I've tried." And so we get a picture. Okay, that's fine. Fast forward like 6 months later, I'm doing a closing, and it's him. I'm helping him buy his house, and I was like, "We've met before," and I show him the photo, and I'm like, we're like laughing. And so then he goes on tour, and I see him on every show. You know, he's performing in all the award shows with Justin, the whole last tour, the Man of the Woods tour. And so we're still in touch. He lives in London. But anyway, I have a big obsession with Justin Timberlake. So Chuck, you can get away from me to be in his movie because I do a little acting.
Wow.
Well, Caitlyn, what about you? NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I like them both, but I was always more in sync. I had more of their albums.
Okay,
So
keep in sync on this
All
one.
right.
all their
Well,
albums. Yeah. I never got to
here's
see
all
it
I can
live, though.
say. My daughter got hired to write the movie of the week about the Backstreet Boys and their music, so
Oh, cool.
I like Backstreet Boys better. And 2, I saw NSYNC perform the first time they performed in Los Angeles at the Universal Amphitheater, which doesn't even exist anymore. And I remember seeing it with my daughter Maxine, just she and I, Larry. Someone gave us the ticket. Paul Stupin gave us the tickets, and we went. And I remember thinking, the band's pretty good, but it was the opening act that I turned to Maxine and said they shouldn't have even come out after the opening act. And of course, the opening act was Britney Spears.
Oh, there you go.
Mm.
That's my memory.
Free
of
Britney. Free Britney.
Okay. All right. So, Caitlyn, why don't you tell us about your thoughts on being on the show and all that stuff?
My gosh, it was an amazing experience. I still can't believe I was on it. Thank you so much. And just like what Crystal said, you know, watching it years ago and then now just finding this podcast and all the groups online. And I've really made some great friendships over the show. Like, I can't thank you enough for creating the show. I feel like that's so cliche, but honestly, some of my closest friends I met through the show, and it's just incredible. And being on this podcast and getting to relive it all over again is a dream come true. So,
well, seeing the 3 of you, you know, knowing that I really took a lot of fights for young women, and there you are. So it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to my daughter as well. She's not thrilled that you like NSYNC more than the Backstreet Boys.
I still like Backstreet Boys. I've been them in concert too. Don't worry.
Right.
Me too.
Right?
They had a
we'll
naked
support
residency here a few years ago, so I went to a few of their shows. So I like them too.
Yeah.
Just not
All
as
right.
much.
Let's
Nice.
say goodbye to our super fans and
Bye,
move
guys.
along.
See y'all.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Thank you all for joining us.
Talk
Terrific.
to you soon.
thank
All right.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'm working on
You're the
removing
clicker.
them. There we go. Okay.
Good
Really good
clicking.
to see
Good clicking,
everybody.
Melanie.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Listen, next week I'm really excited because we're going to revisit the Super Show, the secrets of the Super Show that we did last year to celebrate the 30th anniversary. We're figuring out how we're going to watch it. We're going to cut it into segments and watch the segments and then pause it and talk about remember this, remember that, putting this together and give you all the sort of scoops. And Melanie will be a big part of that too, because she was in charge of all the connecting, getting people online and
Yes.
walking through all that. So there's a
gatekeeper.
lot of inside stuff.
Yes.
And I'm really excited to share all that.
Festival of Fans, Pete. It's the
This
Festival
is the
of
Festival
Fans.
of Fans. That's right.
Thank
That's
you.
right. Week 2.
Just
Charles,
week
I
2 of
mean,
it.
real quick, and I know we'll talk about it next week, though. Remember when we started putting the Super Show together, there was a moment where we thought nobody is going to participate in the Super Show. And
Couldn't have
then
been more
maybe
wrong.
about a week out, we were moving people out of the schedule because everybody wanted to participate in the Super
I
Show.
got great pleasure bumping Sandy Grushel. Believe it.
There were multiple bumps that happened. There were multiple
Right.
bumps.
We removed a whole group of fans. Boy, it was something. It was really something. But we'll
We had
talk
a lot
about
of fun.
all of that next week.
And then the week after that, we start the 2-parter Story Slam. This is going to be historic.
revolutionary,
And,
really.
the other one was epic, but this is going to be historic because at the end of it, you're going to hear performed original 90210 scripts that happened, the episodes you did not see. And it's really exciting for Chuck and I. We got a chance to get our hands back in some of these characters again.
Yeah, well, it's
and feel their
especially
voices and
yeah, because it's the only thing I can write anymore. So clearly,
well, it works. It's really it is historic. It's going to be really, it's going to be really interesting. And these are all the stories that began with our fans in the contest we had called Story Slam, in which we picked the best ones, and then Chuck and I developed 3 of them. And we're going to have first a table reads, and then we're going to have performances, and we're hoping to have some special guests.
We are working on that.
And I forgot that we heard a really good pitch about Claire's cousin.
That's right.
From
because
Jason,
Claire wasn't
Jason
the main
Hicks.
character, we didn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we went. I wish it was like the bonus, but we have a
Well,
lot
after
of
we do this Story Slam, maybe if we put an announcement out for we want to do a new one, we'll see if anybody pitches out stories. And
Yeah,
see
definitely.
if it builds anything on
for
that.
sure.
Now
It'll
that
be
people
fun.
know the concept, I feel like everyone's going to want to jump in on that,
Maybe.
Why not insert yourself into a story? Gosh, maybe I'll pitch
I
one.
would.
I don't know.
I would have. All right, this has been great. And so that's the next couple of weeks. We're really excited about everything.
I do want to just know. I know we said we're not going to talk baseball, but I'm just curious because I know both we were hoping for all our teams to be in the playoffs. It didn't work that way, but I am interested. Pete, who had a worse record, the Padres or the Mets?
I don't actually know. I think we did, but while you guys
I
are
do
super
too,
excited,
because
We
you
ended
know-
just under 500. I think we were like 79 and 83 or somewhere close to that, whatever adds up to
we're very
162.
close. We'll have to look that up and see who
Yeah.
was worse. But
I know the
Bummed
answer.
if the
Mets-
Padres were the
I know
worst.
the answer. The Mets were much worse.
Much
were they?
worse. Okay,
Okay.
good. Good. I'm so happy.
Oh,
to
we were the
hear
worst.
that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's great. While you guys are planning your playoff plans and watching the games, we're cleaning house. We just removed all the coaching staff. The manager's been let go of. So
Yeah,
that's
our
what's happening
manager
in New
too.
York right now in the Mets world. Yes,
Yeah. Bye, Jace Tingler. Later. Nice to know you.
that's what's happening. The breakdown has started. The buildup is happening for you too. The breakdown is happening for us. That's baseball, though,
Well,
right?
good luck tonight, Larry. We both play, huh?
Yeah, and the 5-game series, it's hard. You lose the first game, you're
It's
already,
tough.
I have to
That
go for the Red
pitcher that
Sox.
we were on last night, was he good? I mean, he has to.
Oh yeah, the kid was
It was
good.
a
So
shutout,
rookie,
man.
left-handed guy, and we just didn't show up. But I
I don't know if you
tonight
guys
will
heard
be
what
better.
Melanie just said. Melanie, what did you just say?
I was going for the Red Sox.
So there
Yeah,
you
of course
have
you
it,
would.
Melanie.
Well,
Now
she's from
that's
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
the question, though. I'm going to go for the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Larry, because
Dodgers have been great. No, I'm for the Dodgers.
I mean, I want
thrilled.
the
We got
Dodgers
off the,
deserve
Zipcode
this.
and we got to see the best part of the game. It was exciting as hell, and that watched
Right.
that walk.
Well, I'm Red Sox and only Red Sox. I mean, the rest of the American League teams, none of them are my teams. I mean,
I agree.
I'm not rooting for Houston.
Nope.
I'm not rooting
Nope.
for Tampa.
Nope.
Chicago, I don't love them either, truthfully. So that's
Nope.
about it. We're on Chicago.
I mean, I would hope that if it was a Red Sox Dodgers World Series, if that somehow
That's
happened,
what we're looking for.
Let's
we had
do a
that
watch
2 years
along,
ago.
right?
2 years ago, we had that.
that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, did
It
you
was
say
great.
let's do a watch along of that? That would
Yes.
be really fun.
Well, Chuck
That's
and
a
I both
baseball
were
watch
at
along.
we were at the 18-inning game. I mean, we were at the,
We both were there. Yeah,
Oh, that's right. That 18-inning game.
the only game the Dodgers won. It took 18.
the Red Sox fans were so happy they won because we wanted to get out of there. Please end this thing.
That's funny.
We were cheering just with the Dodger fans. Believe
It
me.
was probably one of the reasons they put that guy on second base in the extra innings. Since we can't have that happen again, please.
But the playoffs, they weren't going to have it, Chuck. You were looking at having an endless game at the other night if it had
Yeah.
they hadn't walked it off in the ninth.
Was that right?
That's correct. Yeah, they said on the TV broadcast that
I didn't
that we're
see
going
that.
back to the original rules. They don't.
That's right. In the postseason, they go back to the original rules. Yeah.
Good.
All right, guys. It's good seeing the both
Thank
of
you all,
We will
both
see you next
Melanie,
week. Yeah.
Pete, and Chuck for making the American Zipcode like a fantastic event. I mean, we
Same
were
to you,
super proud. It was really-
Larry, it
really
was
a
your
huge effort.
concept. You birthed the
And
idea.
it
So
just-
really,
I know,
kudos
and it
to
just
you.
really it fulfilled what it could have been. I thought it really showed a lot, and
I want to say
it was
also
great.
before you guys leave.
Yeah, but what states didn't show up?
Well,
Alabama,
Mississippi, Montana.
Alaska.
But we did have people from Montana. That gal from Oregon, I think she had
Yeah,
spent
no,
some time in
but
Montana.
I'm
But
really
yeah, they
talking
didn't.
about
They didn't show
Alabama
up.
and Mississippi.
Missouri didn't show up either in the
States
end.
Mississippi, I think, was one of Rory's guys, and he was a fighter also. And I believe we ran a little late, so he couldn't make it on.
Okay. Well,
And
then
we were supposed to have Steven Drazad from Flaming Lips on. Spoiler for anybody.
Oh, I told Larry, if I would have known that 30, all these years later, he would stiff us and not be on the show, we would have had Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's right.
There's not even a question in my mind.
He did make it on before, at least. So, I mean, something probably came
No, we
up.
love
So, at
Steve.
least,
It's
we
fun.
do
No,
love
he's
him.
fantastic.
He's
Yeah.
great. He'll probably
I
come on
also
again
just
for
wanted to
something.
say, while we
And all the
thank
shout outs, we should thank all the cast who helped.
Yes.
So many people help us out, and those things are wonderful. And then the live
Jason,
pop-ins.
starting with Jason.
Yep.
Starting with Mr. Priestley.
He
And
set
Rory.
the tone. Jason was a man, just like he was in the show. He set the tone.
Yep,
He was
did.
the quarterback.
And we didn't shout out Rory on the show to thank him for all of his people.
We
but
did.
David was a really big hit amongst our female fans.
David Evans, the UFC fighter. Yes,
people
he was wonderful.
loved him, myself included. He was well spoken, great, nice to look at, solid. Thanks, Rory.
And I just wanted to say thank you to all the fans who have continued to listen to this podcast through the year and a half or so that we've been doing it. We're 86 episodes in, 87 next week. So it's very exciting. And, Larry was talking a little bit about building the community that has happened here. And we're just so happy to be a part of the process and to continue the love of our favorite show and all of that stuff. So thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for participating in all of these things that we have going on. It's very, you appreciate it very much.
Hey, we're almost to 100. What are we going to do for the 100th episode, right?
Let's just get there.
And also keep streaming the show. Keep streaming the show. Stream the show.
That's right. And join the Patreon. All right. Speaking of plugs, I'm going to play an ad. We'll say goodbye to these two, and Melanie and I are going to continue with the news.
Sounds good. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Well. When was the last time you checked out the Beverly Hills 90210 show shop? Because now it's loaded with so much more stuff. Did you ever want to join the gang at CU? Because now you can wear your official CU t-shirt. Or want to get into the fun with America's Zipcode? Represent with this cool swag. Or maybe you have an invite to the Peach Pit after dark and need the coolest shirt ever. We have loaded the store with so much more. So don't be a squeeze. Head over to Beverly Hills 90210showshop.com for all the latest goods.
Hey, Pete.
Hey.
I picked up.
Nice. A CU shirt.
I'm so excited about it. This weather is like hoodie weather. I can't wait. Now I'm wearing my Roy Randolph shirt.
I love the CU stuff. I know we have this. We're waiting for it to get approved. Oh, spread shirt. Thank you so much. But we can't wait to get this one out there. Dancing since the 90s.
It plays well into Brian and his current Dancing with the Stars, which is, I assume, your segue that you're working on here, right?
Well, no.
Oh,
I'm just plugging more merch.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the American Zipcode shirt, right? You want to grab one of those?
Actually, I've got one, and I've got the mug.
And then, of course, we have the I'm a Pete, and Charles is coming. And also, we have another thing that's being designed as we speak. It probably has been made. I don't know. I will look into that. But
I want a shirt, Pete. I want to come up with a cute shirt, like a Melanie shirt, not with my face on it, but like I need to come up with something cute. I want a shirt.
Okay. Okay. No problem. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about some of the things. First, I want to also say I did mention Tori up front. Much love to her for showing up and doing that last minute. Melanie, that happened literally maybe an hour before the podcast came up. I just sent her a message.
Like, hey, should I ask Tori? I'm like, yes, you absolutely should ask Tori.
And she was so sweet and so wonderful. So again, thank you, Tori. Much love to you. Yes. Okay, let's talk. And speaking of Tori,
of course, she wished the show a happy 31st anniversary a few days ago. And celebrated with us, which I thought was super cool. I love that she made the time to pop in and surprise some fans. That was awesome. And 31 years. Wow. I mean, know, it's a long time.
It is a long time. And it's so cool that the community has built from this show. And then you were talking about Dancing with the Stars earlier.
I was. Yes. That's a post from Maggie, and they are safe again. So, friendly reminder, tune in weekly to Brian on Dancing with the Stars and vote for them. They put up the number and all that stuff. So, tune in and watch ABC Dancing with the Stars. Make sure we support Brian and Sharna.
Yes, vote for Brian and
Yes.
Sharna. Yes. I would hashtag vote. I don't know if that's a I don't know. All right, let's see this. This is Shannon. What's going on here?
Yes, you know what? It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I thought it was very important that we share this and just, show our support for her as we always do. A lot of props for people who share their struggles, whether it's cancer, mental health. Actually, World Mental Health Day is coming up on Sunday too. But it's nice to see people being real and sharing their story and her struggle for other people going through the same thing. So, for Shannon and everybody else who's living with or has lost someone to breast cancer, we're thinking about you. It's such a close to home topic, and our thoughts are with Shannon always.
Always, yes, and also with Joey Tada,
Yes,
and the Tada family going through what he's going through with Alzheimer's and all of that stuff. He's a beloved person in the 90210 community, and we all are super fans of his as well. And Kelly's, trying to do her best to raise awareness, and we will
she's
help
championing the cause. She's a good daughter. She's a good daughter.
And let's see this. What is happening with James Eckhouse?
Yeah, actually, James Eckhouse, who also made an appearance on America's Zipcode, is directing a play at the Pasadena Playhouse. So just thought we'd shout that out. You know what? That's weird. That's a 2018 on there, but that showed up in my results from today. Is that old? Hold on. I'm going to actually Google that. So if it is old, we can cut it out. But it showed up in my news from this week.
Melanie, that's old. That's an old.
It is old. It said, okay, yeah. You know what? Let's cut that out.
An old report.
Yeah, I don't know. It showed up in my weekly news thing. That's my bad. So anyway, we'll cut this out. But I made it kind of a lighter. I know. I was like, because we're looking for something to go and do to hang out. So I'm like, oh great, but whatever, Google. That.
No, there goes that.
But I kind of made it a lighter news week just because of everything with the show this week, and I think the biggest news of the week.
I'm leaving it in. That was the story I was most excited by this week because I was like, oh my God, the group of us can go see Eckhouse direct this play. This is going to be great.
Right.
And now we would need a time machine to fucking do this. We
would. And, I'll be honest, I woke up late today and I wasn't really planning on having a lot of news items so we could just recap the show. Because in my mind, America's Zip Code, biggest news of the week when it comes to 90210, obviously.
That's true.
So I woke up, this was before I had coffee, and it showed up in my Google results from this week. So I don't know what's going on with my algorithm, but
it's fine. It's fine.
But anyway, James did join us on the show, which was super cool. It was nice to have Jim Walsh on with us. So that was very nice. I liked that. Sorry about the mess up. I guess my journalism today is suffering. Oh, but this story, this is legit. Of course, I Google Peter Krause like every time we do the news. So this is a 5-issue miniseries, comic related, by Peter Krause and some others. And I will share the details when we know more about the air date and stuff. But of course, anything with Peter Krause, I'm in. Oh, hey, Peter Krause was a guest star on Beverly Hills 90210. Okay. Aren't you doing a new podcast on guest stars on TV?
I call it a secondary podcast, not a new podcast, because I just like to be clear that Beverly Hills 90210 show is number one always in my life. But I am adding this second one. It's called Guest Star. It's coming soon. Follow our Instagram Guest Star show. And Peter Krause was on 90210, but I bet you he's guest starred on many things. So
I bet he has. You know what show has a lot of guest stars? So my kids just recently started watching Raising Hope, which actually is maybe not super appropriate all the time, but the guest stars on Raising Hope, incredible. Like so many comedians every week we're like, oh my God, I can't believe Michael Rappaport's on this week or whatever.
Cool.
So there's a large array of guest stars on that show.
And
so
it's
check
not
it out.
Just be 90s centric. It's going to scope the entire world of guest stars that have come, and I'm trying to get someone to be my first guest. We'll see how she'll do it or not, but you can guess who it probably is if you've watched this podcast enough. I'm trying to convince her
God,
to be my first guest.
Who could it
Because it took us so long to get her to be a guest on this podcast. I was like, it would be so appropriate if she was the first guest on the second podcast. You know what I mean? But
of course.
we will see.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
She's very finicky about things like that. She's very specific.
Yes.
So, okay, I just want to plug the Beverly Hills 90210 showshop.com, of course, for all your merch. And then, of course, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Beverly Hills 90210 show. What's really cool is I wanted to just say about guest star is the guest star Patreon stuff will also merge with the Beverly Hills 90210 show Patreon stuff. So it will be like this perfect marriage of much more content and a lot of interesting things happening. And so it should be a great place to get all the latest stuff. Melanie, do you have anything that you want to plug? Oh, we should always plug LarryMullen.com.
Obviously.
All that stuff. Right?
Read Larry Mullen's books. They're great. I'm just going to plug, go and follow me on Instagram, right? I'm at Media Melanie. Let's connect. Let's chat. I post a lot about pop culture, 90210, and just things going on in my life. So, if you watch the show, give me a follow at Media
and then
Melanie.
also our buddy Todd, HerbertEdits.com. Much love to you, Todd. You did incredible work this week, and I can't thank you enough. We hear all the show. Appreciate you and Brian as well that did the music for this. But Todd has been editing with the show pretty much since the show started. So I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done here. And you as well, Melanie, of course. But that was Todd's moment. So
yes, no, totally, obviously, of course. Hey, and we might be working together on a little side video project I heard yesterday. So I'll keep you posted on that. That would be fun, shooting something here in San Diego. I would
love to hang out with you for a few days.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Cool. Well,
I think bread and breakfast. I don't know.
Oh, you're so weird. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's good to be weird. All right. Well, I think that's it. I mean, again, a light week of news just because the biggest news was the Zipcode show this week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks again. Next week is the watch along of the Super Show. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And, thanks again to all the fans. Thanks again to Larry for conceptualizing this big show this week. I mean, it was really awesome. So if you didn't watch it yet, go back and watch. Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, that's it. Everyone have a great weekend. 90210 out.